Okay, so hopefully you have gone ahead and gotten two solutions for both of these equations. Let's look at what you should have done. You should have taken this factor here, the 2x plus 3, and we want to know what the value of x is when it's 0. And then we also should have the second equation, x minus 10 equals 0. So both of these factors we set equal to 0. Now we solve. So the first thing I'm going to do to both sides is subtract 3. The 3's here would cancel, leaving me with just 2x equals 0 minus 3 is negative 3. Now this is 2 times x. The opposite of multiplication is division. So you have 2x equals negative 3, and what we're going to do to both sides is we're going to divide both sides by 2, because then these 2's would cancel, and what I'd be left with is x equals negative 3 halves. So writing that as an intercept, I'm going to write that here on the side. We get negative 3 halves, comma 0. Some of y'all's calculators, if you did this in the calculator, yours would say negative 1.5, comma 0. It's the same thing. The second x-intercept we're going to get from solving this equation. So we're going to add 10 to both sides to make those 10's cancel. So negative 10 and 10 will cancel. What I'm left with is x equals, and then 0 plus 10 is 10. So your second intercept here is when x is 10, y is 0. So my answers, again, this could be negative 1.5, comma 0, or negative 3 halves, comma 0. They're both the same, so both are acceptable. And the other 0 is 10, comma 0. Now we're going to move on into the notes on the next set of information. This is how to use the zeros to find the vertex and the axis of symmetry. I'm going to go ahead and adjust the zooming, so hold on just a second. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're now going to learn how to use those zeros to help us find a vertex so we can actually graph this. So when we're looking for the vertex, what we start with is finding the zeros. That's what we just learned how to do. Then we're going to average the two zeros together. So you add the two numbers together and divide by 2. That is going to tell us just the x part of the vertex, because remember the vertex is a point, x comma y. So the average of the two zeros will tell me the x part of the vertex. What we're going to do then is we're going to plug that x value into the quadratic equation, just like we did on the first 2 days. We solve for the y. Then we just need to remember to state our answer as an ordered pair, and from there we can find the axis of symmetry. Let's look at an example here. In this example, we've got intercept form, so I'm going to go ahead and take each of these, and I'm going to set them equal to 0, just like we did on the previous problem. And now we're going to solve. So I add 4 to both sides, and x equals 0 plus 4. These negative 4 and 4 would cancel. Let's do it again with this one. How do I get x by itself? We're going to subtract 10 from both sides. These would cancel, and x equals 0 minus 10, which is negative 10. Now we know how to state these as an ordered pair because we could graph those points on the graph. But all I'm really interested in is the 4 and the negative 10, because they're going to help me find the x value of the vertex. We want to average these two x's together. So to find an average, remember you add the numbers together, so 4 plus negative 10, and then we divide by however many numbers we're adding together, which in this case is 1, 2. So 4 plus negative 10 is negative 6, and negative 6 divided by 2 is negative 3. That tells me the x part of my vertex. So my vertex here, x is going to be negative 3. And now all I have to do is figure out what the y is. To find the y part of that, we got to plug it back into this equation, the initial equation up here. So we have y equals x minus 4 times x plus 10. And what we're going to do is we're actually going to plug it into there. So y equals, I'm going to put that x in of negative 3. So negative 3 minus 4 times negative 3 plus 10. All I did was substitute it into those two x's. Now we clean it up. Y equals negative 3 minus 4 is negative 7 times Negative 3 plus 10 is positive 7. And negative 7 times positive 7 is negative 49. That's the y value that we get when we plug in an x of negative 3. You could also use your calculator to plug this in. You could have just put the negative 3 into both of these x's like it looks like here and pushed enter. You could also have put this into the table function of your calculator and scrolled down to where x was negative 3, and you would have gotten this as well. So you have several options. The last thing we have to do is we're going to state our axis of symmetry. So the axis of symmetry, remember, is that line that cuts the parabola in half, and we get it from the x value of our vertex. So the axis of symmetry is x equals, what's the x equal? Negative 3. So that would be my final answer here for this problem. So again, copy down this example here, example D. Y equals 2x, open a parenthesis, x minus 7, close the parenthesis. I want you to first find the zeros, use them to find the vertex. Remember, you're going to average the two zeros together to find that x value of the vertex. Plug it in to find the y. Use the notes that you just took to try to solve that. After a few minutes, you can push play to see how you did.